coming through. You got it, baby.
Now into the huddle with Paul Wilson on the Sports Blitz.
It is a joyous day. I love your show.
From the Emerald Coast to the edge of the atmosphere.
You gentlemen lift us up every day.
104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
What it do, people? It's the homie Lil Cash. Right now you tuned in with Paul Wilson on the Sports Blitz. 104.3 ESPN, Northwest Florida. The hottest sports show in the South. Let's go. Cause Lil Cash with another hit with Paul Wilson on the Sports Blitz. Where they talk trash and they talk ish. When it comes to sports, man, they too legit. It's 104.3 ESPN. If you love sports, better chime in. NFL, college, local sports, they got it. NBA, they got it. Sports Blitz, the topic. The show hottest wasabi. Better tune in and go watch it. Sports Blitz with Paul Wilson. If you even tried, you can't stop. Bone Crusher gon' pop it. No Jeff gon' pop it. Go like, comment, subscribe, and share right now.
It's Wednesday and it's 4 o'clock and you're locked into the Sports Blitz with Paul Wilson at 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida, your spot for the Atlanta Braves. Don't forget the Braves are already played today. We're not going to talk about what happened. We can a little bit, but not a lot. The Braves on the Gulf Coast are sponsored by Hewitt Tire and Auto, Brock Pest Control, Billbird Kia, Cito, PCB Hobby, and Blue Diamond Truck Accessories right here in the Panhandle. Don't forget also, you can call in and text in on the Tropical Spas and Pool phone line. 850-215-6290 is the way you do that. Bone Crusher is here. Jeffrey is not here. He's traveling to Baton Rouge. Bone Crusher, how are you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good. Today I'm inside the Earthworks of Northwest Florida Storm Center. We are under a special marine warning.
Yes.
Winds up to 40 miles an hour. Waves are going to be getting very large. If you are on a boat, you want to go ahead and dock. If you can't dock, make sure everybody has life preservers on. Storms, as we can see on the radar right now, strong and wide. We're going to have to tighten up the hatch for just a few. Yeah,
it's looking pretty bad. I'm looking at the Earthworks of Northwest Florida radar here, and it looks pretty bad. I mean, it is so if you don't have to be outside, don't be outside. I believe all of the junior varsity football games for tonight have been canceled, so there will not be any junior varsity football games tonight. Coaches of Little League football probably going to be pretty bad for a little while. So I don't know. Maybe you ought to, maybe look into that too. I know I was driving here earlier, and I went out and done some stuff, and actually went over and went to the Bay District Nelson building, picked up our sideline passes. So we will be on the sideline for the high school football season, and we'll be doing our interviews with the high school coaches. And, I went over there to go get those, and then I come back, and the Hathaway Bridge, I felt like I was, it was shaking a little bit. And the bridge wasn't, but I was. The wind was blowing pretty hard, and then it started to rain and all that. So it's getting pretty rowdy outside. So, at least it's only going to be for a little while. I think we'll get some relief probably during or after the show. So I'm pretty excited about that.
We'll keep you updated on the weather, guys.
Yeah, we'll make sure. Don't leave to go find another weather channel. We got you right here locked in. Bone Crusher will let you know any problems that go on right here. He's going to be our meteorologist for the day. I was talking about Jeffrey. Jeffrey's doing something that's really cool. I wanted to talk about it for just a second. He's going to the affiliate lunching tomorrow. We sent him down there to Baton Rouge to go and see all of the other affiliates and to be on site, on campus with the LSU Tigers. I'm pretty excited to hear back from Jeffrey. He's going to be out today and tomorrow, but he'll be back Friday. He'll be able to tell us anything that's going on, so it's going to be pretty exciting for him to do that. So I'm excited about it.
He wanted to go and schmooze.
He wanted to go see his buddies. There's people down there that love Jeff. I mean, there's people here that love him, just not Gator fans. But either way, he's going to be down there and talking with all the guys. One of our people that come on the show, Chris Blair, the voice of the LSU Tigers, he's going to be there. So it's going to be good for them to be able to see eye to eye when we've talked to him several times about the program. And Jeffrey's going to do some interviewing and talking and connecting, and probably going to get some pretty good guests from the LSU area. So
Now, I hope Jeff doesn't leave us for a better show while he's out there.
yeah, that's funny. He'd have to leave here, and that would be I don't know if his girlfriend would let him. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah. Hey, we'll talk to her, make sure
we'll
she
see
keeps
what
him
she
here.
says. Yeah, no, I don't think that's going to happen. As I said earlier, the Braves took it on the chin today, 6-4. Not great for them. Just a really bad day, honestly. Not a blowout, but man, they're only 5 games up now. Acuna went 1 for 5. Drake Ball went 0 for 5. You know, Drake, he's cooled off a little bit. He's still a little bit under 300. He's like 278. Again, the machine, the man, Matt Olson, 1 for 3 today with a walk. But again, struggling to score more than 5 runs just about every game. Do you think that's going to hurt them for the playoffs? Like, I get football season's getting ready to be here and all that, and we're going to talk about football, but you think that's going to mess with the Braves? No. They got to score runs, though. That's what's bothering me.
Everyone goes through their streaks.
I know.
Don't worry about it.
It's tough. It's tough not to worry about it.
Don't lose any more sleep, Paul.
Smith-Shawver through today, he gave up 5 hits, 4 earned runs, 3 walks, and 3 strikeouts. If you remember, A.J. Smith-Shawver, he was the one that was hurt, and now this was his first start back. So he's only 23 years old, just so you know, and I'm excited about that, about him getting out there, because that was a part of the plan, is to bring him back to see whether or not he was going to have the ability to start. And then they had also talked about possibly bringing him back slowly and putting him in the bullpen to let him throw there. So
can I get an injury report? I mean, speaking of that, how are we looking?
Fine. I mean, obviously Strider's out. Baldwin's back. Murphy's back. Acuna's back. So as long as nobody else gets hurt, we should be good to go. I mean, our roster's pretty much set. I think our pitching, they just got to figure that part out. Just whether or not he's going to be on the rotation or if he's going to be in the middle reliever or something like that due to his injury. So hopefully he'll be one way or the other. I don't care, as long as he's helping us. That's all that matters, because he's a young arm. He's got a bright future, hopefully, with his arm. I do want to say Tennessee Brandon was going to be with us, but he had an emergency that he had to go handle, so he won't be with us today. He's probably going to be back tomorrow. But we've got a big show tomorrow as well as today. We still got a lot of stuff to talk about today. But tomorrow, I do want everybody to know at 4 o'clock to start the show, we're going to start it out with Jermaine Funny Mane Johnson, the hardcore Alabama fan comedian. He's going to be coming on the show tomorrow. Stone Cold Brian Austin's going to be here.
Miss Piggy, it's going to be star-studded.
It's just going to, everybody, all kinds of stuff is going to be here. So it's going to be a great day tomorrow, and then obviously Friday is going to be awesome too. So it's just going to be a great day right here. So yeah, I wanted to mention that. When we talk about these arms, when we talk about, I saw something today I wanted to say, and again, I'm going to get my baseball out of the way right out the gate, and then we'll be done with it. But did you know that kids age 15 through 19 account for 57% of all Tommy John surgeries in the U.S.? 57% are 15 to 19 years old for the Tommy John surgery. It has moved down. And I'll just be honest with you. I've listened to I follow a lot of guys that do baseball because my son plays, and I want to, just stay kind of current with what the new stuff is and to see if there's stuff that I might want to try with him or that I might, see for future or something like that. And what's crazy to me is that you've got a lot of people that have facilities and they have trainers and they do all of that, and they train these kids, but there's some of them that they've got injured inside the facility. And I'm not pointing fingers and saying, oh, well, you're not doing this or doing that. But it's, everything that we see right now is velocity. They're chasing velocity with throwing. They're chasing velocity for hitting. All of that stuff matters when they go to these showcases. Is how hard do you throw from the mound? How hard do you throw to second as a catcher, as an outfielder? How hard do you throw to second, third, home, whatever? And then they even do how hard you throw across the infield, whether you're playing third or short. And so it's just like, gosh, man, they're really chasing after throwing hard. I just remember when I was a kid. And again, I'm not one of those guys that's like, oh, well, when we did it, this is the best way, because, I'm sure there was stuff that wasn't great that we did. But when we used to do it, you know what we tried to do? Just throw somebody out. It wasn't how hard. It wasn't how quick. It was, can you throw them out? And, if they hit a ground ball to the shortstop and you can't throw them out to first, eventually you'll move to second, or they'll find a place for you in the outfield, and then longevity, you might find yourself sitting on the bench, eating a snow cone, right? But now it's totally different. They gauge you based off of how hard you throw it from the infield, from short or third. They gauge you how fast you can run the bases. Now, as well as I do, yes, you want somebody fast. You want somebody, and I know they do the 40, and in baseball they might do the 60, or they might do the 90 or whatever to see how fast you can run the bases. But technically, when you're running, you're focusing on running. In the game, you're focusing on, am I going to need to slide? Am I turning? What am I doing? Wow.
All right, we're in the earthworks of Northwest Florida Storm Center. You just heard that update. We're also under a special marine warning, strong winds, thunderstorms, and high waves. All right, Paul, thanks for taking a break there so we get that weather out. That's such crucial information right now.
Yeah, stay off the roads. I can hear it right now hitting on top of the building here. And, if you don't have to be out, don't get out, because it is pretty bad. I know, there's flooding after a little while, especially when there was rain yesterday, last night, all of that. So just be aware and make sure your stopping distance is good. I remember when I was a police officer, the number one thing that always happened with wrecks, and, they would always have us write the reasoning behind the wreck. It was that they did misjudge their stopping distance. And that's one of the things when the roads are wet, all of that oil from the grime of just always being on the road from vehicles or, tracking from wherever, coming in and out of stores, all of that stuff. But that oil comes up and it makes it real slick. So just be careful, because it's a bad thing going on right now out here. But yeah, so talking about back to the arms, I just hope that parents, because at the end of the day, if you're a coach, you can only do so much. You're going to have 2 days a week of practice, and what is it that you're going to do at home? Because a lot of the dads, they practice their kids at home. They get a personal trainer. They do this, they do that. They go hit, they go throw, all of that outside, because they're like, don't just practice here. You need to do some stuff at home. So just be careful with that because the age has moved down. I mean, we're 15 being the start of this, of 53% of those Tommy John surgeries. Nothing will, obviously they've gotten way better with their way of doing it. Things are definitely, you can come back now. It doesn't injure your career because that's the whole reason behind being called Tommy John is that Tommy John had the first Tommy John UCL surgery and was able to come back. Before then, if you had Tommy John, basically if your UCL was tore, ripped, or whatever, they didn't have a procedure. You were done unless you were ambidextrous and could throw with your left hand or left being right. So that is a good thing because now they can do that and you can come back stronger, faster. You can throw, but just be careful. If it went out once, it can go out again.
We can rebuild. Well, let me ask you about that. I was very surprised that number of kids having to get this surgery. Is it because they're trying to throw so hard?
Yes.
What about the changeup? I used to hear that kids should not be trying to throw that changeup.
Well, it's the curveball that they don't want you to throw because the curveball used to cause a lot of torque or tension on that elbow if they don't throw it right. Now, there's coaches that teach the curveball and they'll allow the kids to throw it. The only thing I would say is that make sure they're throwing it right, but also make sure that that's not their best pitch. And I listen to Roger Clemens a lot. He puts out a lot of good information, and he says that, you work off of your fastball, and yeah, I get it. You're trying to win. And I'll be honest with you. We played against a team, and I won't say the team, and I won't even say anything about it, but the kid was throwing 75 to 80% of his pitches were curveballs. And, he wouldn't throw his fastball. And I'm not sure how they called their pitches. I don't know if the coach called them. I don't know if the parents, called them and said this was okay. But whatever. But I just know that at 10 years old, we played in a tournament where there was a kid throwing 80%, 75% of his pitches were curveballs. And, you just got to be careful with that. And, everybody's not going to go pro. So I get some of the thought behind it of, hey, I want my kid to do the best and I'm just going to let him. But, yeah, you want your kid to be able to throw with his kids one day, because I do know people that say I can't throw with my kids anymore because my arm is just tore up. It's just dead. It's not good. I wore it out, which is fine. But, I just worry about the safety of the kids. And I just don't ever want it to get closer to that 12-year-old age. Because, most of the time at 12 years old, they're not even on the big field yet. So if you're getting a Tommy John or if you're doing something, having any kind of arm trouble, not growth plate issue because that's just part of it, then you're in big, big trouble. So, but either way, we're going to go ahead and take our first break. When we come back, we're going to be talking with Aaron Biernan from Instant Replay Sports Cards. You're locked into the Sports Blitz with Paul Wilson at 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
ESPN Northwest Florida. It's the Coach James Hale Show.
North Carolina, Bill Belichick. Are you kidding me? Only 4-8, 2-6, no bowl game. Does he work his magic? Does he get to 7-6 wins and go to a bowl game?
No, I think college football is totally different. It takes a lot more energy to build these programs and to be connected, and I just don't see it from him.
The shocker, he goes 6-6 and he goes to bowl game. Mark it down. It's his girlfriend.
Job.
You got a good girlfriend. You got to give him a little credit.
Weekday morning 7 to 9. ESPN Northwest Florida.
This is Anna with your latest forecast on ESPN Northwest Florida this Wednesday. The remainder of the day, a variety of light sprinkles and some sun and 92 with a moderate breeze around 15 miles per hour coming out of the west-southwest. Tonight, partly cloudy skies with lows around 82. Tomorrow, a low chance of rain showers in the morning and afternoon, but otherwise some sun, and a temperature near 93. This forecast is brought to you by Earthworks of Northwest Florida. Thank you for keeping that dial on ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
On September 2nd, DraftKings Game Day arrives with massive deals, exclusive deals, and an all-day celebration built for sports fans. The countdown has begun. All roads lead to Game Day. The DraftKings Sports app is now live in all 50 states. That means Florida, from Texas to California, every fan is in on the excitement. One app, every sport, all 50 states. DraftKings Game Day is yours. Remember the date, September 2nd. DraftKings Game Day is the kickoff of a new season, a new era, and the biggest day in sports history. Get ready to celebrate. New DraftKings customers sign up with with the code NWFlorida. Spend $5 to get $150 in rewards within 14 days. That's code NWFlorida in partnership with DraftKings. The crown is yours. Event trading offered by DraftKings Predictions, a CFTC registered introducing broker. Trading involves risk of loss. Market availability varies. Eligibility restrictions apply. $50 every 7 days via click-to-claim issued in non-withdrawable predictions dollars that expire in 1 year. Ends August 23rd. Terms dkng.co/predictions promo. Nationwide based on sportsbook, prediction, and free-to-play sports contest availability varies by state.
104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida gets results. Here's Brandon Strickland from Recommended Collision Center, Jinx Avenue in Panama City.
At Recommended Collision Center, we're all about taking care of our community, and advertising on 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida has helped us do just that. Social media ads were getting stale, but the Sports Blitz with Paul Wilson gave us a fresh way to reach local customers. We've seen more vehicles coming in for estimates, more phone calls, and more people recognizing our name. It's been a great partnership for our business, pairing up with 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
To see how 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida can help grow your business, go to ESPNPC.com and click the contact button. Get your message heard and cut through the clutter. Go to ESPNPC.com and click the contact button.
Now, taking your collection to the next level. It's the Instant Replay Sports Cards Box Break. With Aaron Bearden on ESPN Northwest Florida.
We are back live and local right here at 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida, your spot for the Atlanta Braves. Don't forget, the Braves have already played today, so we will not have them after the show. If you want to be a part of this show, though, you can be. All you got to do is call in on the Tropical Spas and Pools phone line, 850-215-6290 is the way you do that. Also, just want to make sure we stay current with what's going on with the weather. Man, it is absolutely coming down out there, and I'm looking at the earthworks of Northwest Florida radar right now, and it looks really bad, hitting all of Panama City Beach, all of Panama City, and on down to Port St. Joe. So a lot of red, orange, and green covering it up, and you can always find your great weather right here at 104.3.
And we're still under a special marine warning.
Yeah, so stay out of the water if you can. Dock up if you're out there in it. Either way, we are going to go ahead and go to the phone line. We've got the man, the myth, the legend, Aaron Bearden of the Instant Replay Sports Cards on the line for the box break. What's going on today, Aaron?
Hey, how you guys doing, man? You guys staying dry?
Oh, yeah, we're inside, and where I like to be while I'm in Florida for sure, staying in the air condition and staying dry.
Yeah, rain or not, right?
That's exactly right. You're exactly right. Yeah. So what's going on this week over at Instant Replay Sports Cards? I know there's a bunch of stuff coming out and a lot of things going on. Tell us about it.
Yeah, a lot of cool stuff. Just putting a lot of new cards in the cases today. A lot of individual single cards that you may not have seen if you haven't been in for a week or two. So some cool opportunities there to pick up some stuff to add to your collection, as well as some new releases happening this week. I think some Topps football on Friday, and some new Star Wars as well, finally.
Yeah, I know that everybody, because the football is going to be the flagship, right? I mean, that's the first time that they've had it in a while. Have they come out with anything that's like a chase for that box, or are they still just kind of keeping it mum right now?
I haven't seen. If they have, they're not. It's one of those things they put out and everybody learns at the same time. They don't usually tell shops that stuff ahead of time. So if they have put in something like, in the flagship baseball, we had that chase for the 52 mantle.
Yeah.
If they got something like that in there, they have not sent us anything on it ahead of time.
Would it surprise you if they did that because of how successful the baseball was?
Actually, it would, because vintage football collecting does not carry the same kind of stature that vintage baseball collecting does. So kind of everybody in cards, and a lot of people in general, know the image of like that 1952 Topps Mickey Mantle. That's been, there's probably been like movies that, mention that card, and, it's just all over the internet. Football doesn't necessarily have something to rival that as far as kind of a household name kind of a card. So it would surprise me just a little bit. A lot of football collectors just really have avoided doing vintage. So
was it because of they didn't come out with it as much, and they didn't push it as much as they did with baseball? What was the reasoning behind that?
No, it was really just a popularity thing of the sport. Back when, baseball in the 1920s and 30s was kind of the big American pastime.
Yeah.
Baseball and boxing were your two big pro sports. Football was big on an amateur level, college and, the old Army-Navy games, stuff like that. But pro football really took probably until the 60s and into the 70s to start getting on an equal footing with baseball. Probably had something to do with, televising it for sure. But no, they were making the cards all along. Bowman was doing Bowman football right along with Bowman baseball in the late 40s. Topps was, picked up football pretty early on, right after they started baseball. So, no, the cards are always there. They just were never quite as popular. And as such, then they didn't require the same kind of value, even though they probably produced fewer of them because they didn't sell as many. So it's a great little opportunity if somebody wanted to collect vintage football because it's not just readily available.
Yeah, that's where I was going to go. I was going to ask you because obviously we've talked about a lot of cards. We're going on our year anniversary. I don't know if you knew that or not, but we're going to do a anniversary show. We're excited about getting that planned, but we've been here for a year, and it's been a joy to talk to you about all this. But we've never really dove into this part, and that is what would be – because we got all these new cards. You got these super fractors and – big fractors and all of these patches and this, that, and the other. But vintage cards, whether it's baseball, basketball, football, whatever it is, how can a person or how advantageous would it be for a person to maybe start collecting that doesn't want to get into all of this, flash where it goes up and goes down and it's really based off of a player's ability to be a great or just be good? How do they get going in that? Because obviously they didn't make as much as they're making now. These cards are a lot more scarce. And how could they person go into collecting the vintage cards more than going to doing the stuff that's going on right now?
Yeah. Well, I think one thing is, you got to go at it with a different mindset. If you want to invest money, there are people that put the money into, cryptocurrency. Mm-hmm. There are people that want to buy traditional stocks or bonds or whatever. Your vintage, like you said, your modern stuff is going to go up, going to go down. That's sort of like your crypto thing. Your vintage is going to be more like putting it into some kind of a bond that matures over time. If you go out and you buy, some Joe Namath or Hank Aaron cards or something like that, they're not going to double overnight. But what the hobby has shown us over the last 40 or 45 years, they're really not going to lose value. The market will come and go. There'll be times card collecting dips, maybe, a strike in the sport or something like that. But on in the long run, those cards are going to keep accumulating value. We know those players. They're guys that some of us maybe saw as kids or we heard our dads talk about or something like that. They accomplish legendary things. They don't have to prove themselves. We don't have to worry about them getting injured. A lot of those players no longer with us. We don't have to worry about them getting in trouble with something. These are all things you have to think about with newer players. Sometimes you're buying a newer guy. You're not just betting on how many touchdowns will he score this year. It's, man, he had that ankle injury last year, and he had it 2 years ago in college. If that comes up again, his cards are probably going to tank for a while. Those old guys, that's done. That's settled. Willie Mays hit his 660 home runs. Mm-hmm. He got his 24 All-Star games. That's settled. His cards are just going to, pretty much go up here and there over time. So it's a little less risk, and maybe you can say it's a little less reward. You don't get up and every day check the box scores to see, if your Hank Aaron card doubled because he hit 3 home runs last night or something like that. But for a long-term collector, that's sort of, you have to approach it a little bit differently. And there's a lot of opportunities to get into it without, spending huge money as well. We hear about these $1 million Honus Wagner cards and, Babe Ruth Gaudy cards in good shape going for $800,000 or whatever. You can own cards of a lot of legendary players for a lot less than that. It's something where you're not expected to buy a card that's a perfect 10. A lot of people buying vintage, it's just about owning one of those cards. They're not thinking, well, mine's only a 3 or a 4 in condition. It's only very good or very good to excellent. It's not near mint, so therefore, no. You bought that card in that condition because that's what you could afford, and you have a cool little piece of history, and that's what counts. It brings you some joy. Nothing wrong with that.
So let me ask you this, as far as the people that, and this might be a little dark, but I don't want it to be. I hope everybody understands what I'm about to say, that it's a good conversation.
Soundbite coming on.
Yeah, here we go. So if a card is of a person that is deceased or a card of a person that has not passed away yet, how would the value of that card that the person has already passed away, how is that card going to, over time just gain more value? Or would it be better to purchase a card of a vintage person but they haven't passed away yet?
Well, I mean, yeah, not to get into philosophy class or existentialism, but I mean, everybody that's ever played a sport's gonna die eventually.
Yeah, for sure.
So yeah, that's a pretty safe bet if you're looking at cards. Eventually, somebody, they're gonna pass away. The impact it has on the card is a lot of it depends on the stature of the player before that. You can take a guy who played for 2 seasons in the 1960s or something like that. If he passes away, well, his cards already weren't, a major piece of the hobby. They're probably not going to be, it's not going to be noticed by a lot of people. Now, when Hank Aaron passed away, a lot of people kind of looked back and went, wait a second, for all the things he accomplished, Hank Aaron's cards were really undervalued. And by that, what I mean is there were a lot of years where the Hank Aaron card from that year, say, 1964, 65 or whatever, maybe was worth like a third of what the Mickey Mantle card from that year was worth. And, you can say whatever you value, say Mantle was a little better, Aaron was, whatever you want to say, neither guy was 3 times better than the other one. I think that's a pretty fair statement. And the same thing happened with Willie Mays as well. People were like, hey, all those years we were chasing Mickey Mantle or we were chasing the top rookie out of that year, and there was Willie Mays every year just consistently being, superhuman at the game. So with both of those guys, their cards did go up quite a bit after their passing. There are a couple other players I expect that will happen with, and there are some other kind of Hall of Fame level people that when they pass, there's going to be interest in their cards for a few days or a week till some other story takes over, and they kind of settle back into what they were.
That explains it really well. Let me ask you this, as far as when we talk about this whole making a card go up after they've already played, did we see any jump in the Hall of Fame class that we just passed with Drew Brees, Luke Kuechly, Adam Vinatieri, Larry Fitzgerald, all of those guys? Was there any kind of jump, or have you just really not recognized? Because those guys, even though they are Hall of Famers, I never really saw their cards being, Drew Brees probably the better of all of those as far as the card goes. Have you seen any kind of jump? Does that usually happen, maybe a little bit of a jump?
Yeah, not particularly, because football is a whole different creature from all the other sports. Football collecting, the quarterbacks dominate, then maybe the receivers and the running backs are a distant second, and then the rest of it. It's hard to find a really good, stable market for, no matter how great a kicker is, a Hall of Fame level kicker. As far as card collecting goes, they're still not that in demand. And the same with, linebackers and safeties and, all those kind of guys. They play. Some of them are incredibly good. They're very valuable to the teams and help win games. But when it comes to card collecting, people want to see those quarterbacks and those top receivers and running backs. So if there's going to be a bump, it would be Brees. But I would also say the biggest Hall of Fame bumps we see are from guys who maybe people didn't expect to get in. A good one was a couple of years back in baseball, Ted Simmons. Ted Simmons finally made the Hall of Fame. He was overlooked forever because he was never the best catcher in the league because
Right.
his career overlapped Johnny Bench.
Yeah.
So Johnny Bench got all the accolades, and, he was phenomenal. Ted Simmons was also a Hall of Fame guy people didn't recognize. So when he got into the Hall of Fame, suddenly people were like, wait a second, his rookie card's really undervalued, and I want to add one to my collection.
Wow.
And for a little while, they could do one, they could get one fairly cheap, but it went up after that.
Is that really the kicker? Is that people the want of a card of maybe someone that for that area? Because when you think about when you go to the football side of it, you've got guys like Eli Manning that obviously they've been out, they're famous, they're here, they're alive, but they haven't made it yet. And because of the same reason is the fact that they were not the best quarterback in the league when they were playing, because you had Brady, you had his brother, you had Phillip Rivers, you had all these other guys that are possibly, going to be first ballot Hall of Famers or will be or already have been. That kind of knocks them out. Would you say in the vintage market that baseball really is way ahead as far as like being able to gain the value as football? And do you ever see a time where football will, not ever be the same, but it will move up more?
Well, I think baseball, because of, like we talked about, the popularity of the sport. 1950s and 60s baseball really kind of drives the vintage market.
Yeah.
Sure, everybody collecting cards would love to have a Babe Ruth or a Lou Gehrig or a Ty Cobb, but a lot of those cards are kind of out of most people's range. However, if you're into card collecting, most people can save up and buy a Hank Aaron, a Sandy Koufax, a Mickey Mantle. A lot of those guys, you can get cards from when they were playing, maybe not the rookie, maybe not, a perfect one, but for $100 to $200, maybe $300 for Mantle, you can get cards of those guys at a reasonable price to have in your collection. So I think baseball still is going to have that edge on that popularity and those guys being, everybody knows them. Everybody knows Roberto Clemente, and Willie Mays and some of those guys, Pete Rose. Football, like I say, not quite there. Basketball, certainly the same way. A lot of modern basketball collectors, I feel like, don't know as many of the guys who played 50, 60, 70 years ago in the same way that baseball fans do. We get young kids coming in that buy baseball cards, and if they open a 2026 pack and, they pull a card of Roger Maris,
yeah,
or, somebody they know who that is. They know why he's famous. Maybe they don't know the exact numbers of the stats. They know what they accomplished and who they played with. We don't see as much of that with the football and the basketball. It's a shame. There's a lot of great history there, and a lot of opportunity to buy those cards for probably less than what we're going to realize one day they're really worth. Now, in the future, sure, cards of this era, once they become 40 or 50 years old, yeah, I think people are going to look back and they're going to, maybe still be paying those big prices for a Brady or a Mahomes or a LeBron or something like that down the road. That they're going to be kind of the vintage of the future. And at that point, football and basketball and all will probably be on equal footing with baseball.
Yeah, that's going to be a crazy time because, we've lived through, the 80s, during that time, and then now we're here. And then when we become grandpa eras, I mean, obviously Bone Crusher's way closer to that than I am. But it's going to be a crazy scene. I just wonder if there will ever be that time where, because to me, when you started talking about the basketball, there's always been the basketball question because listen, the newer players now, they swear up and down that they're way better than the years of Jordan and Bird and Magic and all those. They always call them a bunch of plumbers, because some of those guys didn't make as much money, so they would pick up trades, and some of those guys would be plumbers in the off season. So that's why they called them plumbers. And so when you look at it now, do you see that, only the stars of those eras are the ones that are going to raise up in price? And we probably won't see that because it seems like the basketball players of this generation they feel like, I don't know if it's true or not, they feel like they're so much better than that next generation. I'm not sure if they're going to call this generation a bunch of bums. I hope I didn't make too many questions in one. But if you understand what I'm saying, I feel like that because of that, I feel like that's why only Jordan cards or only Bird and Magic cards or Barkley rookie cards, those cards are the only ones that people want because they feel like the whole league in itself was a bunch of bums, and now they don't feel like the league's a bunch of bums anymore.
Well, I think there was an issue, and no one's fault maybe, but that Jordan sort of overshadowed the rest of the league, especially in card collecting, because he was Upper Deck's guy. Upper Deck went out and got him exclusive early on and plastered Jordan's face on everything. And nobody did that with the other guys, not to that extent anyway. So from that era, really, it is only the Jordan cards that are worth very much. A lot of those sets, you go back and, 89, 90, that sort of era, the Jordan card is $15 or $20 out of what was a very plentiful set. I mean, we're not, it's not super scarce. But Jordan's $15, $20, and those guys you mentioned, Bird and Magic and Barkley and Ewing and on, Malone, all those guys, they're like 50 cents, 75 cents. Like, they have no real value to a lot of collectors. Their rookies are a little bit different. But yes, Jordan is the guy. It's kind of Jordan or bust from that era. I do think basketball is interesting that the new guys always put down the older era. I don't see that as much in baseball and football. I think there's sort of a mutual admiration thing. New baseball players talk about how, I would have hated to have played against Nolan Ryan. Yeah. And that sort of thing. And those older guys are like, man, we couldn't keep up with the kids today. These guys just work so hard and all that. Basketball is the only one where it feels like it's sort of confrontational and maybe a little bit ego-driven.
Yeah.
I don't know that in the future it's going to change. The problem basketball collecting has right now is there's kind of one guy at a time. There's one rookie each year that everybody focuses on. And it's partly because it's a small team size. There's 5 guys. So with baseball, you can have 2 or 3 hot rookies on one team. You can have 15 guys that everybody's chasing this year. Basketball, it's usually like one guy, maybe 2 at most. And if that one guy comes up short or gets hurt, it can tank that entire year's basketball product. So I think it's more about just how many guys are on the team and how many cards are in the product.
Yeah, that makes total sense.
The quality of the player.
Yeah. Well, we got one more. We got one more question for you. This is ridiculous, but I'm going to ask you anyway because somebody from our Facebook feed has asked the question. If you had a Bruce Jenner collectible card, did the value go up or down when he became Caitlyn Jenner?
I don't know that really affected. I'm trying to think of Bruce Jenner cards. There were a couple of Olympic cards. I think that's the kind of thing we talked about again. Sometimes somebody passes away, and for like 72 hours, there's a bit of kind of morbid interest in that. I think it was probably the same with the Jenner cards. It's not anything people come in asking for. I think most people aren't even aware they exist. That most people don't know there are Olympic cards for modern Olympians. So, yeah, I don't know that really affected it all that much.
All right, just a question.
One more question.
Now,
here.
what would be interesting, honestly, was if you'd had a card that Bruce Jenner had signed years ago as Bruce Jenner, and you got it signed again now, if it's signed as Caitlyn Jenner. That would be an interesting collectible to talk about.
Wow, yeah.
But I just thought of that. I've not seen one of those, but that would be interesting if someone had that.
Yeah.
Hey, Aaron, Bone Crusher here. A quick question. As the rain is absolutely coming down, I'm wondering about insurance, flood damage, fire damage. When people have a very valuable collection, how do they take care of that?
So that's a really good question. There are a couple of companies out there you can look for online. I don't have the names or the info right in front of me. There are a couple of companies that do insurance for collectible collections because standard insurance, homeowners insurance and all that, honestly, they're not built for collectibles. And from my experience, of what I've seen, people I know, they will try to fight you on it, and they will, pull every trick in the book. How do we know you had that card? How do we know that was in your home at the time? How do we know that wasn't a reprint you had? They'll do a lot of that. So there are a couple of companies that specialize just in collectibles, and I think are built a little more toward that end.
Wow. Well, that's some good answers, and we definitely appreciate you coming on. Give us the hours of operation and your location, Aaron.
Absolutely. Yeah, so we are at 752 West 23rd Street. That is in the Stanford Station, along with Academy Sports and Outdoors, Sweet Frog, El Jalisco. You know where we are. It's kind of across the street from the 23rd Street Walmart a little bit. And we are open 7 days a week, Monday to Friday, 11 to 8, Saturday 10 to 8, Sunday 12 to 6 p.m. You can get all that good info and reach us at InstantReplaySportsCards.com.
All right, Aaron. Well, we sure do appreciate you coming on. And, man, I don't know what time you're leaving your shop or where you are, but it's coming down, so just be careful, my friend.
Absolutely. You guys do the same. People out there driving around, be safe. Take care. We'll see you.
Yes, sir. We'll go visit Aaron and Instant Replay Sports Cards right there. He'll have something for you. When we come back, we're going to dive into some college football. Don't forget, we got Buddy Martin at the top of the hour and Taylor Devers at the end of the hour. Going to be talking Florida and Florida State today. You're listening to the Sports Blitz with Paul Wilson at 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
The Dan Patrick Show.
Dan Patrick.
Kyler Murray is going to be the starting quarterback in Minnesota. I don't know if the Vikings are giving up on J.J. McCarthy after 10 starts. Maybe they're taking a pause. 6-4 in those 10 games. And it's rare for a team to rip the Band-Aid off like this.
It's the Dan Patrick Show. Weekday mornings from 9 till 11. ESPN Northwest Florida.
So you've heard the saying that if you love your job, you'll never have to work? Well, it's true.
I've worked for Brock Lawn and Pest Control for many years. The commitment to the needs of customers
and their commitment to each employee makes Brock a company I'm very proud to be a part of.
Brock's core values are also mine. Give people more than they expect and always honor your promises.
This isn't a job, it's a service to help people live a healthier lifestyle.
Brock Lawn and Pest Control, our family protecting your family.
Reliable Copy Products is proud to be the exclusive dealer in Northwest Florida for Kyocera office equipment. Reliable Copy Products has been committed to providing professional, personalized service for the last 35 years. They understand that the right equipment does not always fall within today's budget requirements, so they offer several options for the equipment you need today for the growth you expect tomorrow. Call James Smothers at 784-6601, 784-6601. Reliable Copy Products on Harrison Avenue, just north of Bay High School.
Panama City, Lynn Haven, Callaway, 30A, Santa Rosa, Freeport, Mexico Beach, Port St. Joe, Youngstown, Blountstown, and Yorktown. The Sports Blitz with Paul Wilson.
The locals love it.
Dominating the dial at 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
We are back live and local right here at 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida, your spot for the Atlanta Braves. The Braves will not be on the air tonight. They've already played today, and we've definitely talked about that enough. But either way, we are here, and we're excited about it. Don't forget, guys, make sure that you are safe because of the weather. We've got a Earthworks of Northwest Florida update right now. It's still looking pretty bad. Stay off the road if you can. It's moving through Panama City Beach, Panama Cities, Port St. Joe, all the surrounding areas. It's a lot of red out there, and you don't want to be involved in all of that. And don't forget, you can be a part of this show. All you got to do is call in on the Tropical Spas and Pool phone line. 850-215-6290 is the way you do that. You can call in or text in on that line as well. And I'm going to read one of the text messages from Gaynor. Jamie says, if Enes Kanter goes on to dominate the WNBA, will his NBA cards go up in value or her? So either way, I think that's a good point there. So I don't know. Maybe Aaron could answer that one at a later time. But we're going to go ahead and go to the phone line. We got Nate on the line. Nathan, how are you today, my friend?
Oh, my goodness. I'm dodging Thor's thunder strikes, man. Lightning's hitting Panama City like nobody's been. It's like a hammer and a nail, dude. I mean,
yeah.
It's strike after strike after I'm literally dodging, like my car. Just.
Yeah.
Oh.
Are you all right, though? Make sure you take it
slow.
slow.
I'm fine. This is my kind of weather. I like this.
Okay.
I really do. So, No, I'm having a good day. How are you doing?
We're doing fantastic. We're having fun here. I saw some of your comments. You were definitely the one that made the comment about the Bruce Jenner turning into Caitlin Clark.
No, that wasn't
Caitlyn
me,
Jenner.
was it?
I don't know.
Was that
I don't
me?
know. I don't know. There's a Caitlin that I'm sure her card is going up right now in the reference of Caitlin Clark. How about that?
That's fine.
So let me ask you this. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
My daughter's name's Caitlin, so.
There you go. Let me ask you this. I know you're a resident Seattle fan.
Oh, my God.
What do you
Here
think
comes-
about the Diggs brother signing with them? And then what do you think about that Terry and Arnold is looking at possibly being signed with them based off of waiting to see what the NFL is going to do as far as his
Well, actually, Terry and Arnold did sign the contract.
He did? Okay. Well, I
Yeah,
figured
so
he did.
He is a Seattle Seahawk. That was confirmed on the HBO show.
Hard Knocks. Yep.
Yeah. So that was confirmed. He did sign the contract. He is still in jeopardy of not playing because he'd be put on the list by the NFL for an indiscriminate amount of time. The risk to reward was still okay. $1.1 million for a year's worth of work on a potential really good player, and he had people on the team that vouched for him. Like Milrose was like his roommate, I guess, in college, or a really good friend of his on the team. There were a few other players and coaches that knew him, recruited him, and so they don't know why this all happened because it's not like him.
Right.
So I think if he got into the wrong crowd, maybe because he's in Detroit, somebody in his life just didn't steer him the right way, and now he's got 8 felonies.
Yeah.
Potential.
Nick
Allegedly.
Saban had vouched for him, so
right.
So it looks like Seattle's going to have a little bit of Alabama flair going on that defensive side of the ball, especially if he plays, and then you got Diggs signing today from Green Bay.
Right. So I mean, yeah, look, John Schneider is one of the best, if not the best GM in the business today, and you can't fault him for wanting to make that team better. We know that we have limitations on the Seahawks, and they're out there to plug those holes and get the best players we can for the season to go forward. Because, I mean, the Super Bowl is going through the West. You know it.
Yeah.
It has to. Because there's just too many teams on the West Coast that just have their stuff together to make it to the playoffs. Now, there's a lot of good teams out there that could really surprise some people, one of which is Tampa Bay. I think Tampa Bay, if you get your mental health on, right, I know that Baker's a little. He talks all the talk, and he says what he's going to say. But when it comes down to game day, he's going to give you his best effort. I know that, and the South is wide open. Now the other thing we need to talk about Northwest is my Mariners losing 22-0 to the Brewers.
Yeah, that was crazy. It was definitely a bad thing. Yeah, it was horrible. And then you got to look at
4 errors, dude.
What
He
about?
only had 5 hits.
Yeah.
He only had 5 hits and got 22 runs.
And Julio Rodriguez, he threw the ball into the stands with 1 out, and the bases were loaded.
Well, that was the second out. He made the second out.
Right.
Thought it was the third out. Threw his ball into the bullpen, thinking that the inning was over because we were already losing.
Yeah.
We were going to lose the game.
Yep.
Which at that point, why wouldn't you have rotated everybody out, all the starters? And just put all the scrubs in anyway. But I don't know what he was thinking or wasn't. I think he was just in shock that they were doing so poorly.
Yeah.
And he had to make the highlight reel. Sometimes bad publicity is good publicity. At least the All-Star got his name out there. So.
I guess. Well, and another thing that he's doing is taking the pressure off of Kyle Riley, who is abysmal this year. Let me ask you this.
Well, he was injured. Don't give Kyle Riley. I mean, come on, man. He only has like 3/4 of a year. He didn't even get time to get hot yet, but he's still hitting dingers.
Yeah, but not a lot. I'm sorry.
Well, it's not over. It's not over. Okay, you guys give.
I'm sorry.
Man, he did
Listen.
something last year that no other catcher had ever done, and then this year you're throwing shade on him because he had an injury-filled year. He hasn't been able to get on the field and get himself warmed up, basically, on hitting. He's got so many less pitches to see. I mean, I don't want to hear about Cal Raleigh. Wait till the end of the season. If he doesn't hit at least 20 dingers and, like, have at least 40 RBIs, then you can paste into it. But give him a break.
I just can't, because it's for, to me, it's what have you done for me lately? And
oh my goodness, dude.
You can't do what he's done. And I mean, good God Almighty. I mean, he's had 331 at bats this year. So
that's not that much, really.
Last year he had 596 at bats, and he's only got 13 home runs. He's only had 44 RBIs. And
look,
I'm just saying,
I'm not
sorry.
going to throw him under the bus this year. And like I said, he had some injuries he had to recover from. All right, being a catcher in the major leagues is a tough gig, dude. It's probably the hardest position to do, because pitchers only pitch every 5 days or whatever, and the catcher's there every day, every pitch. And no, just leave him be. He's fine.
He's hitting $150. I mean, I'm sorry. I'm an average guy.
Him for the rest of the year, he's got to at least get his swings in.
I guess, but I'm just saying, with him being, I mean, this is one of the largest drop-offs we've ever seen from season to season, and I mean, we've got to report it. I mean, I hope the guy. I hope the guy can come back, but it just, I mean, he hasn't hit this bad since 2022.
Well, he's still under contract, and Darren Wilson was a catcher, and he's fine.
Okay.
You're going to have to. They're not going to get rid of. Fans don't care if he's hitting dingers all the time. I mean, if it goes into next year, then we can talk. But this year's pretty much scrapped. I mean, if a team can't win one game and they lose 7 in a row, 8 in a row, this time of year, the season's over, man. I'm done.
Yeah, and which it's football season now. I mean, it's easy to talk about. I mean, until the playoffs start for baseball, it's going to be mainly heavy football here, especially on the Sports Blitz.
I just got done doing my fantasy draft, man, and I've already got problems, so I got to worry about.
Well, that's a big deal. We will be starting back up Brandon's recommendations for fantasy, just so you know. Nice. He'll be giving out some good advice on that. He's going to be our resident professional for fantasy football this year, so be looking forward to that. But Nate, thank you so much for the call, my man.
Hey, anytime, buddy. Just give me a call, and I'll be here.
All right, man. Well, just stay safe. Stay safe.
No problem. I'm right across from a cemetery, so it's easy to get rid of me.
Oh, my gosh.
I'll see you later.
All right, buddy. Thank you so much. We appreciate it. I know we've got Jeffrey on the line. We're going to go ahead and take our break. When we come back, we'll talk to Jeffrey, make sure he's all right down there in Baton Rouge. You're listening to the Sports Blitz with Paul Wilson at 104.3 ESPN, Northwest Florida.
Wake up with ESPN Northwest Florida. The Coach James Hale Show drags you out of bed weekdays 7 to 9.
They're going to allow beer sold at the new sports complex, yet we can't have a cold beer on the beach.
Yeah. Then for the ride home, the fastest 2 hours on radio. The Sports Blitz with Paul Wilson.
You better hope you're ready.
Morning drive and the afternoon commute are live and local on the Gulf Coast. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
This is Anna with your latest forecast on ESPN Northwest Florida this Wednesday. The remainder of the day, a variety of light sprinkles and some sun and 92 with a moderate breeze around 15 miles per hour coming out of the west-southwest. Tonight, partly cloudy skies with lows around 82. Tomorrow, a low chance of rain showers in the morning and afternoon, but otherwise some sun, and a temperature near 93. This forecast is brought to you by Earthworks of Northwest Florida. Thank you for keeping that dial on ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Discover the new Kia at Bill Bird Kia. Get behind the wheel of an exciting new 2026 Kia model where advanced technology, confidence-inspiring safety, and premium comfort come together for every drive. Looking for an SUV? Check out the stylish new 2026 Kia Sportage or the family-ready new 2026 Kia Sorento. And if you need more room, the innovative new 2026 Kia Carnival MPV delivers SUV-inspired design with plenty of room for all of your adventures. Bringing style and performance together, Experience the bold new 2026 Kia K4 and new 26 Kia K5. Bill Bird Kia is the home of the original 20-year, 200,000-mile warranty, giving you peace of mind that you can trust. Visit Bill Bird Kia at 2435 East 15th Street in Panama City or online anytime at BillBirdKiaPanamaCity.com. Bill Bird Kia, your local community dealer, where we treat you like family. The 20-year, 200,000-mile warranty is a Bill Bird Kia warranty. See dealer for complete details.
Football season is right around the corner. Touchdown! And 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida has an unbelievable schedule of college and NFL games. Do you own a business, want to reach more customers? Put the power of ESPN Northwest Florida to work for you. Advertising opportunities are available right now. For more information, call 850-215-4468 or go to ESPNPC.com and click the contact button.
WGSX Lynn Haven, WVLQ Port St. Joe, ESPN Northwest Florida.
Back to the gap at the wall. Out of here!
The new Sports Blitz.
Oh, yeah!
Rants, hot takes, and huge reactions are incoming on 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
What it do, people? It's the homie Lil Cash. Right now you tuned in with Paul Wilson on the Sports Blitz. 104.3 ESPN, Northwest Florida. The hottest sports show in the South. Let's go. Cause Lil Cash with another hit with Paul Wilson on the Sports Blitz. Where they talk trash and they talk ish. When it comes to sports, man, they too legit. It's 104.3 ESPN. If you love sports, better chime in. NFL, college, local sports, they got it. NBA, they got it. Sports Blitz, the tiger. The show hottest wasabi. Better tune in and go watch it. Sports Blitz with Paul Wilson. If you even tried, you can't stop it. Bone Crusher gon' pop it. No Jeff gon' pop it. Go like, comment, subscribe, and share right now.
It is 5 o'clock and it's Wednesday. You made it through hump day today, and we're so glad you are locked into 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida, your spot for the Atlanta Braves. Don't forget the Braves took the L today, but hopefully they'll be back in business tomorrow. The Braves on the Gulf Coast is sponsored by Hewitt Tire and Auto, Brock Pest Control, Bill Bird Kia, PCB Hobby, Cito, and Blue Diamond Truck Accessories right here in the Panhandle. Don't forget, if you want to be a part of this show, all you got to do is call the Tropical Spas and Pools phone line. 850-215-6290 is how you do that. We're checking the earthworks of Northwest Florida radar. It is still looking bad, guys. Make sure that you take cover, take shelter, whatever you need to do. It's a lot of red, a lot of orange out there. If you're driving, take your time on getting there. It is definitely bad, and I believe we still have the marine warning as well.
Yeah, still under marine warning, and it looks like this severe weather could last for another hour or more.
Yeah, so just be careful if you're getting out. If you got to go out somewhere, then go ahead. But, man, if you don't have to, stay inside and be careful. We're so excited today because we have none other than our friend of the show from the Buddy Martin Show. We've got Mr. Buddy Martin on the line. Buddy, how are you doing today, my friend?
What's up, Paul? Nice to hear from your voice again. I'm in Ocala, and we got a lot of storms going on here and a lot of colors in the radar as well. So if I get knocked off the air, you know what that is. But I'm glad to be with you today. I missed your show. I'm in Ocala. I was planning to try to get back there hopefully the next couple of days if things work out. So miss my people in Panama City, my friends, and my family there. So good to hear you, though, and good to be getting close to football.
Oh, yes, and that's why I'm so glad that you're here with us right now on the line. Buddy, obviously a lot of stuff going on. We got everything coming out. You got the AP coming out. You got the preseason All-Americans coming out. You've got all of the writers are writing stuff about all their teams and what they're covering and who they're all doing. And just so you know, I think looks like next week I'll be having Coach John Summerall on the show. I'm excited about that.
Nice.
What do you think about what you've heard and what you've seen so far from this Gator program? And give us the excitement that Gator fans should be feeling about right now.
Well, I like it a lot. I think they got exactly the right combination there. I love the progress. I loved how he activated the fan base and got to the media right away, and they started slumming and doing shows like you're in mine. Actually, we were able to talk to him, which we did in the last coach.
Yeah.
And quite frankly, I hate to throw water on the past guy, but listen, he wasted 4 years of our life. And so here we are at this juncture, and we're hoping that this guy is what we think he is. And it's a lot of optimism going around right now. And I think he made it maybe his first, I won't say mistake, had his first little hiccup this past weekend. But it's not anything major, and I think it basically fits a perfect game in terms of getting information to the people, the press, and letting the players know that he cares and motivating them. And I'm excited about their offense, and I think their defense is going to be pretty good too. I've studied most of the offense, and I love what's going on there. Everybody wants to know about the quarterback. I don't know the answer. Nobody knows the answer. He says that decision has not been made. I'm hearing really some good reports out of there, especially Tramel Jones. He talked a good deal about him in his last press conference. And, of course, we all know that Aaron plays Georgia Tech, and he's Buster Faulkner, and he knows his offense quite well. And Philo has an advantage there. But Coach Summerall said that while Philo's gotten better and he knows the offense, that Tramel Jones has made a quantum leap up the next level. And he didn't think he's necessarily gone ahead of Philo, but he thinks he's improved his game. And he basically left it like they're going to decide who starts. And he's got a guy that it wouldn't matter. He might start one guy this week and one guy the next. And so we'll see. I think their receivers are incredible. And I think that their running back, Jaden Ball, is going to have a banner year. I'm not going to predict Heisman Trophy, but listen, he's got such great weapons around him, and he has now some ball plays he'll be able to be featured. And Summerall's already said he's going to use him in different ways, and I pretty well know what that means. I can figure it myself. He'll be out of the Wildcat some. He'll be catching a lot of balls. I made a prediction the other day on my show here that on the podcast that he would catch twice as many footballs this year as he did last.
Wow.
And he caught 33 passes last year. So that would be big. And he can play anywhere on the field. He can be a great tight end. And he's one hell of a running back. So I think he'll get his catches, and I think he'll get his 1,000 yards. So good there. And now we'll see what the defense. They got some really good edge rushers, L.J. McCray being back from an injury. I think there'll be a factor. The safety play should be improved, but there's a lot to clean up on the defense. A team that couldn't get other players, their deep offenses off the field, and now I think they'll be able to do that some. And I believe they got the right defensive coordinator, and I'm excited about Buster Faulkner's offense.
Do you think that talking about this offense and him, obviously there's other teams that haven't decided on a quarterback yet, but his willingness to be open and honest with the media like he has been, and to his credit, it's been a wonderful year covering him because of that. When you look at it, do you see it could possibly be something kind of like Chris Leak and Tim Tebow? Because, when you think of two quarterbacks, you usually call that a monster. Anything with two heads is a monster. But with these guys having a little bit of similar skill set, but also maybe a little bit different skill set, could you see that there might be times when one of them has the hot hand and the other one, maybe doesn't, and the switch could be, even if it's a third, fourth, fifth game down the road?
Could be. Coach Spurrier, by the way, I went to his restaurant Monday night, 5th anniversary party. We had a media party there, and we had a great time with Coach Spurrier. Excited about him, excited about a book we're working on with him.
Yes.
I'll tell you about that a little later. But I think he's the guy who said it's like a bullpen. It's like football. It's like baseball where, like you said, you get the hot hand. When a guy's having a bad game, you bring the guy in the bullpen. Now, Steve actually had one game where he rotated his two quarterbacks everywhere to play.
Yeah.
And he's not afraid to do that. I don't think he'll get to that. I suspect they'll settle on one here pretty quick, and I think that this Auburn game looming now, all of a sudden, Auburn is in a huge game.
Yes.
I mean, it was just a good game, and now suddenly it's the damn Super Bowl. And both teams are desperate. These guys were hired on the same day, and they've been comparing notes, and I think it's going to be really that Auburn-Florida series is great, and I'm glad to see it back. And so I think it's an opportunity for either one of those teams to springboard out of there, because those first half dozen games are crucial, especially to the Gators, and they're going to have to win 4, maybe 5, because the back half is pretty rugged. The final 6 games, 3 of them will be top 5 teams probably. So, I think the quarterback situation will settle itself, and I think what Coach Summerall said was he didn't have to decide who the starter will be, because they'll decide it for themselves.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's a good point. You bring up the Auburn game, which is very it's starting, like you said, it's starting to really gain a lot of traction. I actually heard a guy from Auburn today talking about it, and they specifically brought up that game, that is their game too. So not only one fan base is energized talking about that game, but now you've got Auburn also talking about that game, and the first time in a long time that Florida's been to Jordan-Hare, and it's a night game, and you know how it is in Auburn, and it's tough. Do you see that game carrying some momentum for whoever does the best? And could it be one of those games to where both teams, it could be so close at the end that no matter who wins or loses that one, that it still kind of catapults them as a team in the SEC, that you better play your best game or else they're going to sneak up and beat you?
I think that pretty well describes it right there. I think that's a game that could springboard people. And like you said, 88,000 night game. Florida has a history of not playing it well at Auburn. I've gone over some of the history, although it has a rich history of Steve Spurrier kicking a field goal to win the Heisman Trophy against them. There were some other dark days there, including the day that John Reeves threw 9 interceptions against Auburn. I was there that day and saw every one of them. And there's just used to be a really hotly contested game, and Florida didn't play well toward the end, the series in Auburn. But it's going to have a lot of attention. It'll be the biggest game for both teams, probably the first half of the season. And even though it's not against highly ranked teams, because neither one of them are ranked, and one of them may be or both by then, but it's definitely going to be a big game, and it's bigger. I said the other day, how did this become so big all of a sudden, so fast? Just boom, because it's a game both fan bases are excited about, and they both coaches want to win real badly, and it will, in fact, decide some of the momentum for those guys. And the quarterbacks might put their name on it as well. So we'll see. I'm excited about that game. That's going to be crazy.
We're talking with Buddy Martin of the Buddy Martin Show, and we're so thankful that he's here with us today. Buddy, I saw something, I think it was yesterday or today, or both. You had the former coach of the Gators, Urban Meyer, on your show. And how was Urban doing? And did he give us any information that kind of made you think about Deering for this season coming up? Because I know he's locked in already.
Yeah, but we're getting some thunder here. We had, in fact, my friend just commented the other day that he really likes Urban on our show because he kind of lights up and comes on, and he's really generous to us, and he's not afraid to make a statement.
Mm-hmm.
And we talked about his statement he made a couple of weeks ago to a former player, Steve Harris, about how he made a mistake when he left Florida.
Wow.
And he talked about it on the show when he said that all about February, he was out of coaching. He was really getting he was very depressed about it. Matter of fact, he called me during that time. He'd already started working for ESPN, and he said, "Can you come have coffee?" And I said, "Urban, I don't live next door. It takes me a minute to get there, but yes, I'll come." And I went to his house then, and at that point in time, he was out of coaching. And Shelley did not want him to coach again because they had a conversation when he said earlier in February, I really made a mistake. I shouldn't have left Florida. And she said, "Don't even think about it.
Wow.
Don't even think about it. Don't say it." So when I went up to his house that day, and all the people who think that he was working the back door and trying to make deals behind Florida's back and all this stuff, don't know what they're talking about, because I went to his house, and this is when things looked like they could be changing in Columbus. And she said to me, as his wife was leaving, Shelley was leaving to go out, he said, don't say it too loud, but I'd like to go back to the coaching again, and Shelley doesn't want me to.
Wow.
And so Shelley left, and we started having a discussion. I said, Coach, they're going to make a change in Columbus, I'm telling you. That's going to be changed by the end of the year, and they're going to come after you.
Mm-hmm.
And you're not going to have a second chance to go there. They're going to offer you the job, and you're going to have to make up your mind pretty quick, or it's going to go away. And he said, well, I didn't want to go back in coaching this fast. He had a studio in his home at ESPN. He was very happy there, but he wanted to coach again. Lo and behold, what did he do? He did wind up going back and taking the job. And Urban gets criticized more than anybody I know. People love to take pot shots at him. He just got voted to the Ring of Honor. And they'll say, what's so honorable about Urban Meyer? I know the guy really well, really, really well. He's a man of honor, and he made some mistakes, did some things he shouldn't have done, said some things he shouldn't have said. Gosh, who does that, right? Everybody.
Exactly.
And so what he said to us basically was he really likes John Summerall. And it was said earlier in the year that Summerall reminded him a lot of himself.
Mm-hmm.
And I brought that up, and I said something to Urban about it. And he said, now, wait a minute, I never said that. Other people said that about him, but he didn't deny it.
Mm.
Summerall has a very similar personality, and he likes Summerall a lot. He lives in Sarasota now. He, of course, has that big noon show on ESPN, which is highly successful. Don't forget, they get the Big Ten. The Big Ten's the champions again. So he was very good and honest, and we always love having Urban on the show. So that was special.
How do you feel about, when you say that? Because, Summerall has made a lot of friends with the media because he's been available. And that's one of the greatest things that, I found that these coaches can do. I mean, there's some that, won't give you the time of day. Some will. Some will, push their assistant coaches onto you, whatever. But with him doing that, and he's made himself very familiar with all of the Florida fan base, with his style of coaching, to you, like, buddy, just as what you've been covering sports and been around coaches and players for a long time, do you think his style of coaching with the generational kids that we have right now, do you think that that's going to still be something that he can do, that tough, that, because he still looks like if you were in a fight, he'd be one of the guys that would jump right in and help you.
Well, that is the question. Everybody wonders. Look at Indiana, though. He's a very traditional coach. In certain people that kids won't mind what you won't let you be. If he can't coach a guy, he won't play him. I think he could. Would he? It would all depend on the time, place, the school, etc. But he certainly, remember, this guy won 3 national championships. 3. Good Florida and 1 at Ohio State. Probably should have won 2 there. That's the big question. Have those guys gone out of style the last 4 or 5 years? Has NIL changed it that much? I don't know. We'll never know that question. But he gets calls, and he's turned down a lot of jobs, I can tell you that. And a lot of people would like to have him, and he's not going to go back to it. So we'll have to just talk about that and speculate. But I don't think he definitely was great. And everybody, it's hard to say who would work. And you start talking about changing time periods and talk about who's the greatest now, who was the greatest then. It's just about impossible to do because time and circumstances change. I don't know what it was like for Hank Aaron when he played and was hitting all those home runs versus what they did. I mean, things are just different.
Yeah.
And the mountain was higher today, and it's a different situation. But I think, to me, a good coach is a good coach, and the winners will find a way to win. So I love Coach Spurrier because all he has brought to the game and how he's changed it. And he still loves life, and he still loves football, and he still loves talking ball plays, etc. And I'm so honored that he asked me to help him on a book that we're going to working on now, called Me and My Quarterbacks.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going back, and my partner and I are going back and talking to the previous quarterbacks, including the ones that played for him at Duke, and the ones that played for him in Florida, which is the biggest group, and the ones that played for him in South Carolina, and even the ones that played for him in Tampa Bay, and the ones who played for him for the Apollos, if you remember that team.
Oh, wow.
And so, yeah, so very interesting. And Carlton Reese, my partner, is doing a lot of interviewing, terrific editor and writer and football guy. And he's talked to these guys, and he says, you can't believe how much they all pay homage to Steve.
Yeah.
How much they still love him. And he's a special guy. He really is a special guy. And I'm looking forward to that book and what he has to say about these quarterbacks. And look, he's got the secret sauce. Nobody knows more about that position than him. He not only won the Heisman, he coached Heisman Trophy winners. He had 34 All-Americans. They weren't all quarterbacks in college. And, he knows the position. And I love the story about how he learned to play the position and throw the football his last week when he played for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Wow.
Of all things, all those years, he said, Bill Nelson, the former Cleveland Browns quarterback, was hired and came down and spent a week with Steve. He said he learned more in that week from Bill Nelson than he learned his entire coaching and playing career. And he wound up taking everything that Bill Nelson taught him, and he's applied it to every quarterback he's ever coached.
Wow, that's crazy. We're looking forward to that book. Let me ask you a couple more questions, buddy, if you don't mind. We got a few more minutes. I want to ask you this, and this is a personal question, and I just want to see what your answer would be. Out of all the quarterbacks at the University of Florida, who was your favorite? I'm not talking about maybe the best. I'm not talking about maybe that had the most prolific career or had the most awards or led the team to the national title. It could be. But who was your favorite quarterback that's ever laced them up for them Gators?
Well, that'd be easy to say Tim Tebow, but that wouldn't be an honest answer. He was one of my favorite players and of all time. I love Steve Spurrier. I love to watch him. I love John Reeves. I thought he was fantastic. He and Carlos Alvarez. Carlos Alvarez, who should be going to the Ring of Honor, was one of my favorite players of all time, receiver from North Miami. I follow him very closely and wrote a lot of stories about him. I would say if I had to pick one, it'd be Spurrier.
Yeah. Well, and that's what I wondered. Now you did do a lot of covering of the NFL, and I'm going to ask you the same question. I think I know the answer to that one, but who is your favorite NFL quarterback that you covered or that you spent time around? Personality, just a great person, great human being. Give us a little taste of that.
The talent overrides everything else, and that's easy if I just do it. I mean, because my man Terry Bradshaw was always my good friend. He was a great player, but John Elway was unbelievable. People don't know what a great quarterback he was, and I followed him all the way to the time he stepped foot on there in Mile High Stadium and all the way through. And I've loved watching him play. What an arm! He had an unbelievable ability to scramble.
Yeah,
he won championships. And he would be my favorite there. Of course, because of our friendship with Terry, I'd say Terry Bradshaw. But I didn't cover him regularly. But the guy I covered most, in Gary Kubiak, I covered John Elway, and I got to say that he'd be my favorite.
And John Elway, he could play any generation, couldn't he? I mean, that guy was just fantastic. I mean, he was just a athlete he just was a great athlete.
Yeah, he never played the shotgun. That was a big challenge Dan Reeves had to deal with. And John always played behind center. And the knock on the on back in those days was you couldn't run out of that formation. And so they finally got Elway switched, got into the shotgun, and they learned how to run the football out of the shotgun finally. Sammy Winder was one of the running backs, and that was the deal. And what's odd about that is later on when Spurrier went to Florida, he only liked to take direct snaps. I mean, he only liked under center, and he wouldn't put Danny Werfel in the shotgun. He wouldn't play. And I used to go to practice, and I'd talk to him. I'd say, "Coach, why don't you consider the shotgun?" And he'd say, "I don't know about that." And he really didn't. But you know what he did? Mm-hmm. After that big game when he got clobbered by FSU, they went out in the SEC championship game and put in the shotgun, and I believe crushed Alabama in that. And of course, they went on to win the national championship and beat Florida State. And that shotgun turned out to be a gift for Steve.
Yep.
But he still likes snapping it under center. I guess because you can do so many audibles, and it can be heard. So he's a big audible guy. If you go back and watch the film, he would wait until the very last second, and he'd send in an audible to Werfel, who was under center, and Werfel could make the call and change the play. You can change it as well from the shotgun. And so he prefers to play a lot on the center. But, yeah, I'm going to say those guys, for me, I'm not saying they were the best or the whatever. My favorite were those were my favorite guys.
Well, buddy, thank you so much. We appreciate that. I love talking to you, talking football, and just hearing all of your experiences. And we appreciate you. And tell us when the Buddy Martin Show comes on.
I will, but I want to say one more thing if I've got time.
Yes.
You have young people that you see grow into something special. And if you're fortunate enough to work with them at some point and just watch them grow, you're brilliant. I've had a few. I've been so blessed to have the Mike Lupicus and Rick Rowleys and stuff I work with. And one of them is Lauren Rutledge. Mm-hmm. And I just, for listening and watching, they're now saying that ESPN is going to build a network around 4 people, and Laura Rutledge is one of them.
Wow.
And she was such a great gift to us. She walked up to my son and said, I wanted to know more about what he was doing, shooting video of the practice. And she worked for us for a year. That was her first real job in Gainesville. And then once her rocket took off, not that we or I had anything to do with that. I'm just saying it was wonderful. I went back and read the old stories about Laura. So she is doing so good. I mean, she was a girl who made nothing. I mean, zero. And now she's making millions, and she's one of the stars. And it's good for her. I'm proud of her. And it's good to see that kind of thing happen. And you see a young person, and sometimes they need to be believed in. That's what they need.
Yeah, you're exactly right. That's a fantastic story. Buddy, we sure do appreciate you, my friend, and always a delight to talk to you, buddy.
My pleasure, and always good to talk to you, and I'm going to get you on my show here soon if you're available.
Yes, sir. We'll do it.
9 o'clock Eastern time, 8 o'clock your time, and we'll be talking soon.
All right. Thank you so much. The great Buddy Martin from the Buddy Martin Show. Thank you so much, buddy. Have a great day, and be careful with all the rain and thunder. When we come back, we're going to dive into talking a little bit more about football. And don't forget, we got to give away some tickets for the Jacksonville Jaguars and the Carolina Panthers this Friday, right after the break. You're listening to the Sports Blitz with Paul Wilson at 104.3 ESPN, Northwest Florida.
ESPN Northwest Florida. It's the Coach James Hale Show.
North Carolina, Bill Belichick. Are you kidding me? Only 4-8, 2-6, no bowl game. Does he work his magic? Does he get to 7-6 wins and go to a bowl game?
No, I think college football is totally different. It takes a lot more energy to build these programs and to be connected, and I just don't see it from him.
The shocker, he goes 6-6 and he goes to a bowl game. Mark it down. It's his girlfriend.
Job,
you got to give him a girlfriend. Got to give him a little credit.
Weekday morning 7 to 9, ESPN Northwest Florida.
This is Joanna with your latest forecast on ESPN Northwest Florida this Wednesday. For tonight, partly cloudy skies and a low of 83 with a gentle breeze coming out of the west around 8 miles per hour. Tomorrow morning, mostly sunshine with temps around 91. In the afternoon and evening, a possibility of thunderstorms and some sun and a temperature near 91. Moving into Friday, about the same with a high of 90 and possible thunderstorms. This forecast is brought to you by Earthworks of Northwest Florida. Thank you for tuning into ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
On September 2nd, DraftKings Game Day arrives with massive deals, exclusive deals, and an all-day celebration built for sports fans. The countdown has begun. All roads lead to Game Day. The DraftKings Sports app is now live in all 50 states. That means Florida, from Texas to California, every fan is in on the excitement. One app, every sport, all 50 states. DraftKings Game Day is yours. Remember the date, September 2nd. DraftKings Game Day is a kickoff of a new season, a new era, and the biggest day in sports history. Get ready to celebrate. New DraftKings customers sign up with the code NWFlorida. Spend $5 to get $150 in rewards within 14 days. That's code NWFlorida in partnership with DraftKings. The crown is yours. Event trading offered by DraftKings Predictions, a CFTC registered introducing broker. Trading involves risk of loss. Market availability varies. Eligibility restrictions apply. $50 every 7 days via click-to-claim issued in non-withdrawable predictions dollars that expire in 1 year. Ends August 23rd. Terms dkng.co/predictions promo. Nationwide based on sportsbook, predictions, and free-to-play sports contest availability varies by state.
And the Georgia damn Bulldogs, baby.
Now back to Herschel Walker, Texas Ranger.
For you are now the original Gator hater.
It's the Sports Blitz with Paul Wilson.
Herschel Walker and the Georgia damn Bulldogs.
104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Welcome back. You're listening to the Sports Blitz with Paul Wilson right here at 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida, your spot for the Atlanta Braves. Don't forget the Braves already played today, if we want to call it playing. Lost 6-4 to the Minnesota Twins. Will hopefully get better here in the future. Up 5 games over the Philadelphia Phillies. If you want to be a part of this show, all you got to do is call the Tropical Spas and Pools phone line, 850-215-6290. We're going to go ahead right now and give away the Jacksonville Jaguar versus the Carolina Panther preseason game this Friday night. And all you got to do is call in right now. 850-215-6290 is the way you do that. And we'll take caller number 5 just for Jaden Daniels. How about that? We'll take that. Caller number 5 right now for Jaguar and Carolina Panther tickets. 850-215-6290. Make sure you're being careful out there. The storm's moving through. Still going to be moving for the next hour. So just make sure that you are very careful. Because it is raining and more rain coming through. Well, we're excited about all of the stuff that's going on here at ESPN. Don't forget, tomorrow night we will start our high school football. It is going to be awesome. We're going to take the Mosley Choctaw game over at Tommy Oliver. And then Friday night we'll be at Arnold watching Arnold versus Freeport. So join us over there. We'll be going live with the coaches, doing some halftime stuff and into-game stuff. So get excited about it. It's an exciting time of the year. Hopefully this rain will move on out, and it'll be dried up by tomorrow, and we'll have some good football weather at Tommy Oliver Stadium with the Mosley Dolphins taking on Choctaw. I'm not sure who they are, but either way, we're going to go ahead and go to the phone line. We got Jeffrey on the line. Jeffro, how you doing, my friend? Jeffrey, you there? Are you alive?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Hey, is this a Herschel Walker Texas Ranger show?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, he's here today, so.
That's what I'm enjoying.
So are you in Baton Rouge? What's going on? Tell us.
I'm in your favorite state. It's Mississippi. I know how much you love Mississippi, and I'm in your gizzard of the woods. Over here by Pascagoula.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's a gully watcher here, so we're having a hard time. I don't know if you were.
You know, the weather wasn't bad anywhere else, right? The whole Panhandle was under flash flood watch, and when I went into Alabama, it got a little bit better, but not much. It was so bad that the Mobile Tunnel was underwater.
Oh wow. Yeah.
You know what I mean.
Oh, yeah, I've been over there.
You know what I mean.
Yeah. I get it. Let me ask you this. I didn't know if you were able to hear some of the things that Buddy had said about the Gators. And, do you think Summerall needs to go ahead and get a guy so that they can move into their game prep? Or do you think it's okay with the two teams that they're going to play early on, that it's okay to kind of let this be like more of like a preseason type deal where then they figure out who their starter is?
You know, I'm going to agree that Auburn game is like a big deal, and I did talk to a big booster from Auburn at the airport, and before I even opened my mouth about that game, he told me that game is pivotal, and the team that wins that is going to be in a great situation. I think it'd be great to have a two-headed monster for a couple of games, and then going into the Auburn game, Florida just shouldn't even tell them who's going to start and just surprise them, and then have Auburn won't know what's about to happen.
Wow. I mean, it can be effective, if you're not, you can't, because as well as I do, you can only prepare. If you're going to have to split it up, be like, well, Philo does this very good, and then Jones, you got to be aware of this or that. A lot of people don't realize that Jones throws so good that, we always talk about how elusive he is and how he can get outside the pocket, but the guy is 6'3", 210, and, I mean, he is a good quarterback, and I'm curious to see how crazy this could be, because we might be talking about one of these guys for the whole year.
Well, I mean, let's go back to last year. Lagway was the pick even when he was hurt. So if Jones comes out like he does, is that going to say something either about Napier from last year, or is it going to be like everybody's just killing themselves because they could have had this last year?
Well, I had some friends that they're Gator fans, and they went to some of the games, and some of the times that Jones got in when they were up early on in the season, they said that Jones looked really good, and it did question whether or not, Napier was managing this right, or if he just totally was DJ Lagway only, because a lot of people are talking about how that Jones was, he may not have known the offense very good, but if you can play the quarterback position, you can throw the ball. It just seems like they didn't try to get him ready.
Yeah. It's a shame that this rivalry, if I can even call it that, because back in the days, this used to be a huge rivalry. And believe it or not, Auburn's won 4 more times than Florida has in the head-to-head rivalry of this one. But the problem is that it's a recency bias of from 95 to 2000, they played 7 times in that little amount of time, and Florida won all 7, and by double digits on all 7 of them. But since 2000, Auburn's won 4 of the 6 because they barely play, because that's 25 years, and they've only played 6 times. And this rivalry is just riddled with Auburn upsets. They upset Florida just about better than anybody. And, I hate to just focus on one game from Florida, but, it's going to be a big deal. And Jordan Hare is going to be packed to the gills.
Oh, yeah. I believe it'll be a sellout. Both teams will probably be undefeated, and it's going to be loud. And as well as I do, when they start bumping over there, it gets crazy. They've added all of this with the lights, and, it is going to be standing room only. And I believe it's going to be one of those early games that's going to get a lot of publicity. I think a lot of people are going to, be watching that game, not just SEC fans, but football fans total, because this is really, the first true test for both of these guys. We've had both of them on. We've talked to both of them. Both of them are saying this, what you're supposed to say. And who would you give the edge to right now?
I'm going to say Florida. I've been saying it. I know you keep on knocking me back and saying, I don't know, Auburn's playing at home, and, they have all this and that. But, I just think that Florida not only has the depth, I think they have the speed. Auburn's defense better come out like they did last year, because that's what's going to be their saving grace.
Yeah, I think it could be a defensive battle. I just wonder with Byron Brown what he's going to look like. To me, that's the edge I give to Auburn right now. Bone Crusher, do we have a winner?
Congratulations to William Bush. Picked up a family 4-pack of tickets for the Jags this Friday night at Everbank.
Oh, man, that's going to be great. Fantastic. So congratulations. Yeah, go ahead.
And we're giving away another family 4-pack just after 6 o'clock. We're going to post this on Facebook. So make sure you follow us on Facebook. Then after 6, you can comment for a chance to win a family 4-pack of tickets.
All right. So good. Make sure you stay online with us because our Facebook page is growing and there's all kinds of stuff going on. Well, Jeffrey, I want you to be careful. I want you to have fun. And I want you to represent ESPN Northwest Florida with the most upstanding dignity that you can.
I'll be surrounded by LSU fans, I bet.
Yes, yeah.
Dignity is not in this equation. No, I'm just joking.
Well, Bone Crusher said just be careful because you might land a job down there with all those affiliates.
Yeah, don't leave us for a better show, Jeff.
Don't leave me. Yeah, we got to talk about this anniversary thing.
Yeah, we are.
You keep on saying it's the anniversary of the show, but really, Paul, it's your and I anniversary, man. Me and you, our relationship.
Oh, gosh. Out of all the people that was going to say something like that, I leave it to you to say it. I mean, don't come back with a list of how many guys look cute up there or down there in Baton Rouge.
Hey, you and Troy Aikman,
Oh, gosh.
Wow, that's a big compliment.
Man. Well, Jeff, thanks so much, man. We'll stay connected, and we'll see you on Friday. Be careful, have fun, and eat some good food, my man.
All right, thanks a lot, guys.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Jeffrey. Let's talk about Deckhand Social. Here's the plan. After a great day on the water, dock and dine at Deckhand Social and watch the game in the pool. Complimentary docking at Pirates Cove Marina. So this football season, this NFL football season, you know as well as I do, even though it's starting to be fall, you can still get out and boat. A lot of times the water is clean, crisp, and just real relaxing. You're hungry. You're wanting to see who your favorite team's playing. You want to see what the score is. Dock right there at the Pirates Cove Marina. Come on in, eat, get some good food, get you something good to drink, and boom, hang out a little while, watch the game, and then you can go back doing your stuff on the water. So Go over there and see them at Deckhand Social. They are awesome, and they got a great menu. Now, with the weather like it is, what better way to get outside or get inside and get your work done? We talk about the fall's coming, whether you've got baseball, football, flag football, soccer, volleyball, whatever it is, basketball, anything. If you've got need a practice place, you need to go to DuPlay at 287 Aberdeen Parkway in Panama City, right next to the Lynn Haven Sports Complex. They will get you taken care of. Coach Austin is there every day, ready to help you get your athletes ready and where they need to be. If you look at their website, DuPlayOnline.com, you can check out everything that they offer. Also, go to their Facebook page. It's just DuPlay, DOPLAY. And you can see all of their events that they've got coming for the month of August and even into September. When we come back, we are going to talk with Taylor Devers of Norvell Central. He's going to give us an update on the good old Florida State Seminoles. You're listening to the Sports Blitz with Paul Wilson at 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
The Dan Patrick Show.
Dan Patrick.
Kyler Murray is going to be the starting quarterback in Minnesota. I don't know if the Vikings are giving up on J.J. McCarthy after 10 starts. Maybe they're taking a pause. 6-4 in those 10 games. And it's rare for a team to rip the Band-Aid off like this.
It's the Dan Patrick Show, weekday mornings from 9 till 11. ESPN Northwest Florida.
Upgrade your time on the water. Blue Water Marine Electronics is officially open at 2320 West 15th Street in the old Kawasaki dealership. Blue Water Marine Electronics, your premier destination for marine tech. They sell, service, and install everything from top-tier GPS and fish finders to sound systems and trolling motors. Need repairs? They're Bay County's authorized Minn Kota Warranty Center. Blue Water Marine Electronics, 15th Street, Panama City.
Your biggest investment is your home. Protect it while also improving its appearance with Earthworks of Northwest Florida. We have sand, mulch, gravel, or lay down decorative stone, all available for pickup and delivery. Discover your dream landscape with Earthworks of Northwest Florida. Imagine the moment you proudly pull up to your home that you've worked so hard for, enhanced by quality mulch, decorative stones, and more. Let's make it happen today. Request a quote online at earthworkspc.com or swing by the office at 2005 Industrial Drive. Love the land you live on.
Football season is right around the corner. Touchdown! And 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida has an unbelievable schedule of college and NFL games. Do you own a business, want to reach more customers? Put the power of ESPN Northwest Florida to work for you. Advertising opportunities are available right now. For more information, call 850-215-4468 or go to espnpc.com and click the contact button.
This is where heroes are created, legends are born, and dynasties forged. The Sports Talk Master, ESPN Northwest Florida. Now back to the Sports Blitz.
Welcome back. You're listening to the Sports Blitz with Paul Wilson right here, 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida, your spot for the Atlanta Braves. The Braves took the L today, but we will get them back soon enough. Man, still burns a little bit. But either way, you can be a part of this show. You only got about 15 minutes to Tropical Spas and Pools phone line, 850-215-6290. Make sure that you guys are still careful. The storm is still moving through Panama City Beach. Panama City hitting Port St. Joe pretty hard right now on the earthworks of Florida, Northwest Florida's radar. It's looking pretty tough, so just keep safe out there, guys. We're going to go ahead and go to the phone line. We've got Norvell Central on the line, Mr. Taylor Devers. Taylor, how you doing today, my friend?
Well, I'm doing great, man. How about yourself?
We're doing great. We've been talking about Florida, a little bit of Auburn. Had some of those guys on there talking about it. And, another team that, is not getting any preseason love with any kind of AP ranking, coaches ranking, or anything like that is your Florida State Seminoles. Mm-hmm. So with a lot of this new coach talk, you've got Auburn and you got Lane Kiffin at LSU. You've got all of the. Mm-hmm. How does Florida State fans stay the course, knowing that all of these guys, all these new coaches, there's excitement in the air, and with Florida State, we're hoping, and you're waiting. But what would you say to the Florida State faithful, just to stay the course, or, hope that the wheels don't fall off? What are we saying right now, Taylor?
Yeah, well, Paul, first off, I just want you, because guess what? You saved the best team for last. Because Florida's right. Nobody's, Auburn's nobody's. We're going to be better than both of those teams. You can go ahead and mark it down. But I will tell you this. I think Florida State fans are a little bit more hesitant because of the Norvell situation. It's just a kind of a hot mess right now. You really don't know what you're going to expect. You think that there's going to be more confidence in the offense and how everything's going to go. I think Deuce Robinson is basically going to be the dictator in that offense and how you kind of perceive everything. And obviously, when you have these top 25 teams, you play 4 of them this year. Yeah. And then you have a Florida and a Clemson that's right outside. So basically you're playing 6 in the top 30. I think it just comes down to a point of you have to win those games. You have to win those marquee games, and it's great that you beat Alabama last year. It's amazing. But the problem is, as soon as you hit that Virginia game, you got down early, you tried to battle back, and then you had some adversity strike, and then you weren't able to do anything. I mean, there's not a lot of people wanting to talk about Florida State. They're like, well, this is year 7. We haven't done much. Like, it's no new car smell anymore. It's like you talk about all this about the climb and wanting to be better, but then you go 2-10. That's a bad look. Yeah. It's a really bad situation, and I think Florida State's kind of digging themselves out of a hole. And the public perception of everything in Tallahassee, the fans are just tired of it. They want to see better. They want to see a better product.
So they announced this week that Tom Herman is going to be in the press box. Does that? What do you think about that? I mean, I know we're just pulling straws here, but this guy knows football. I mean, is that like by design? I mean, is Norvell kind of leaning to the fact of I'm gonna let Tom see what he sees up there, and maybe he'll say downstairs, hey, this is what they're doing. We need to do this.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that is more so the idea, because a lot of times during the practice settings, he's like, okay, Tom, what did you see? And it's more so, okay, I saw this. I saw this. And basically he compares it with the defense coordinator, Tony White, as well as Mike Norvell, as well as Tim Harris, who's a co-offense coordinator as long as a wide receivers coach as well, and just kind of coordinate with those guys and saying, okay, as a head coach, as an assistant coach that I've been in the past, here's what I see on defense and offense. And I think it's better for him to be in the sky because he has Power 5 experience. He has the Group of 5 experience as well. And then on top of it, too, I don't want to bring too much negativity into this, but he has had some scuffles and some conversations with some assistant coaches and different things on the sidelines that probably his past is kind of suggesting, okay, maybe we shouldn't have this guy on the sidelines as much.
Yeah. Let me ask you this. All right. Deuce Robinson, you've already mentioned. I'm going to mention Ashton Daniels. If either one of those guys would be up for ACC Player of the Year at the end of the season, who would you much rather it be?
Personally, I think it would have to be Ashton Daniels because at the end of the day, if you're getting an Ashton Daniels that I'm not going to say he's going to blow the world on fire. I'm not saying he's going to be a 35 touchdown guy or anything like that. But if you're able to get, 26 total touchdowns, 27 total touchdowns, I don't think I get it. He's only had 28 passing touchdowns in his career. But he's also played in a Stanford offense that was terrible, and then he got 4 games at Auburn. Yeah. I mean, what do you really expect him to do in those situations? I want to factor this into you as well, and I kind of want to bring this question back to you. So Norvell talked about in a recent press conference that Deuce Robinson is probably the best he has ever been in his entire career, better than he has all last year. They put him in all kind of different situations, slot, outside, any kind of responsibilities he was able to do it this offseason. Do you think that Deuce Robinson, if he elevated his play, if he had 1,000 yards last year and about 6 touchdowns, let's just say, for example, he goes up to 1,208 or 9 touchdowns, do you think that elevates him to a new height? Because it seems like not a lot of people are thinking him as a top wide receiver in college ball. There may be fringe top 10, but do you think that elevates more of a outlook for him as a wide receiver, or do you think it's just because it's Florida State and they don't do that well, it doesn't really matter?
Oh, no. I honestly think that there's a possibility. If he can get, and I know you said 9, but if he could somehow, some way get to a double-digit touchdown and 1,200 yards, I think there's a possibility that he would be either second or third wide receiver taken. And you know as well as I do, there was a reach for Carnell Tate last year, who was the second best wide receiver on his team. So I think it would bid very well for him to have a year like he did last year with maybe 3 to 4 more touchdowns. He gets to that double-digit touchdown with 1,000+ yards of receiving, and maybe has a 2 or 3 grab that might catch Sports Center or something like that. You're going to see a lot more scouts looking at that Florida State team because at the end of the day, they love the big body wide receivers. And if he's one of those kind of guys that you can play him in, play him out, and he can go get it, I think he's going to be great. That's why I asked, because he has the capability of being one of those. I mean, if you were to throw Deuce right now into Alabama's team, or you throw him into Georgia's team, or you throw him into one of these other top-tier teams that, even at Oklahoma right now, you're talking about possible Heisman Trophy candidacy talk going into the season. Obviously, everybody's talking about Jeremiah Smith and Cam Coleman and some of these other guys, but realistically, Deuce Robinson has the opportunity to be one of those guys and possibly put his name in the conversation of being a first-round, early second-round draft pick.
I agree. I think Deuce Robinson is that type of receiver that you want to get. And obviously he come from USC a couple of years ago, was recruited out of high school, basically a 5-star prospect. And, man, it makes me think about when you look at that USC team, obviously they had Mekhi Lemon last year, and he's a very talented receiver. I don't really think they were sweating bullets last year in terms of not having him on the team. But, man, what would that USC team be with Deuce Robinson now in this setting? I mean, you don't have a whole lot of Florida State players that have joined Florida State because, basically a team wanted them really bad and Florida State overpaid for them. It seems like that Florida State's getting these diamonds in a rough, and they're not really getting those guys that you really wanted. I mean, nobody was really knocking down, let's just say, at Albany, with Jared Verse. I mean, they loved him. They loved his skill set, and that was a great win for Florida State. But in terms of some other guys like Johnny Wilson, nobody was really banging on his door to go get him. Nobody was doing Trey Mason at Oregon whenever he was there. I mean, there was a lot of guys they needed to get, and man, if Deuce Robinson was on that USC team now, whew.
Yeah, you're not kidding, because we talked about it yesterday. It is time, put up or shut up for USC. I mean, it's time. Yeah. If they're going to be good, they need to go ahead and be good now. But when you look at USC, if they could possibly get into the conversation of being that 4th, 5th best team in the Big Ten, now you're talking about really starting to see USC come back. Because it's going to take them a few years. But you're exactly right. If they had him, and again, it's like I'm saying, if you had someone like Deuce Robinson at these major top-tier programs, Ohio State, Georgia, Alabama, LSU, you're really talking about something special. Have you heard any of, is the offense, because obviously last year you saw Julian saying, target Jeremiah Smith, even the year before, target Jeremiah Smith. And that's how they win their ball games. Do you think Norvell's going to be that way, that Ashton Daniels has got to look Deuce Robinson's way, 85% of the times when you start out passing the football?
Actually, I think it's a little bit different. I do think Deuce is going to have more targets than last year. I believe he had about 68 targets. If I remember correctly, he might have around the 70 mark. I think there's going to be a couple more opportunities for him. I think it's going to be more like last year against Virginia. He dropped a couple of touchdown passes that he probably should have been able to call. And then next thing you know, you're losing in double overtime because you dropped a couple passes. But I think when you got guys like Mekhi Dancy, when you have guys like Javon Boggs who are really high on but didn't really do much last year, a Jason Lopez from the South Florida area that's a true freshman that really liked Devin Carter, his dad Dexter played at Florida State. I just think there's a lot of guys there that you have to throw to in this system, and I don't think Ashton Daniels is going to be asked to throw 30 times a game, 35 times a game, even though in a Norvell system, his quarterbacks tend to be a little more pass-happy. You think about Jordan Travis in his 23 year. I think that it could be a guy that could be getting a little bit more share targets, but overall, I think Deuce Robinson is going to have the same amount of targets and receptions. I just think he's going to have more yards and touchdowns.
Do you think, just switching to the national scene real quick, do you think the AP got the top 5 right? Because we had a little bit of a conversation. I felt like Georgia was, and everybody's like, oh, Georgia's at 3, that's still great. But I feel like they were kind of, you got their starting quarterback coming back. You're supposed to be the best team in the SEC. Do you think they were slighted a little bit, obviously, with them getting the number 3 spot?
Yeah, I do think they were a little bit more slighted. I understand the hype around Oregon. I think they are a very talented team. But it's more of a prove-it thing. What have they done in valuable games, at this point? And Indiana at 6, I understand you lost a lot of talent. I get it. I understand the hype over Texas. I get the whole Notre Dame thing with their schedule being a little bit more easier, and they have a motivation factor of not being put in the playoffs. And I think Ohio State is justified as the number 1 as of right now. Not super sold on their quarterback situation. We'll see. Just something just rubs me the wrong way. I don't know.
Yeah, well, I'm with you, man. Well, thank you so much for coming on. Yeah. We appreciate you. We're definitely going to get you back on as the season gets closer, my friend. Thank you so much. No Taylor Devers with Norvell Central. Thank you, buddy.
Yes, thank you.
All right, man. Well, that does it for us. We appreciate you guys listening. Congratulations to William Bush, our winner of the Jacksonville Jaguars Carolina Panther preseason tickets. Nice. Don't forget, watch our Facebook page right after the show, and you can win your 4-pack as well. So either way, a huge show tomorrow. We got a lot of guests on tomorrow. It's going to be a great time. You don't want to miss it. Thanks for listening. Thanks to all of our guests, all of our sponsors. We'll see you tomorrow. Have a great night, everybody. Be careful.
With ESPN Northwest Florida, the Coach James Hale Show drags you out of bed weekdays 7 to 9.
They're going to allow beer sold at the new sports complex, yet we can't have a cold beer on the beach. Yeah.
Then for the ride home, the fastest 2 hours on radio. The Sports Blitz with Paul Wilson.
You better hope you're ready.
Morning drive and the afternoon commute are live and local on the Gulf Coast. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
This is Joanna with your
1 2 1 2 testing 1 2. .96.1 The Rooster with breaking news. The mail-order giant that lured millions with 12 CDs for a penny that peaked in the mid-1990s before streaming and changing ownership reshaped the media landscape. The long-running mail-order business Columbia House, which became famous for its record and CD clubs before focusing on DVDs, has announced it'll take its final orders next month. Harsh, dude. That's how I got my very first vinyl. Columbia House sent generations of music lovers running to check the mailbox. It promoted mail order deals and sounded almost too good to be true, as you can hear in this TV ad. Remember, those deals had a little catch. After the initial shipment, you were part of the club and had to buy more albums at regular club price. Columbia House would also ship you unsolicited releases in the mail, and unless you sent back a reply card refusing the order, you had to pay for that. The record club launched back in 1955, but as technology changed, it pivoted from vinyl to reel-to-reel, 8 tracks to cassette tapes, and finally CDs and DVDs. And in its peak in the 1990s, it had millions of members. It was pulling in $1.4 billion in revenue. And as it proclaimed in this jingle, it was big enough to entertain America. Now, Columbia House was an umbrella brand for Columbia Records mail-order music clubs, the primary iteration of which was the Columbia Record Club, established in 1955. The Columbia House brand was introduced in the early 1970s by Columbia Records and had a significant market presence in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, end of an era. But let's get to the comments. Do that one part again. Columbia House was an umbrella. Got 3. Columbia House was an umbrella band for Columbia Records, the primary iteration of which was Columbia House was an umbrella band. Last one. Columbia House was an umbrella brand for Columbia Records, established in 1955. The Columbia House brand was introduced in the early 1970s by Columbia Records and had a significant market presence 70s, 80s, and well into the 90s. It's an end of an era, but let's get to the comments. Jason Outlaw replies, the only business that survived 71 years giving everything away and never receiving a dime for it. Jason Outlaw replies, the only business that survived 71 years, giving everything away and never receiving a dime for it. Yeah, maybe if we'd all paid them what we owe them, they'd still be around. Dixie says, maybe I will stop getting collection warnings after 35 years. I know, right? And Clay says, I have officially beat the system. Right, Clay? This proves that crime does pay. 96.1 The Rooster. True story. Clay, you are above the law.